The fact that this episode was so dark, showing the cruel depicting nature of social media that they even had to put a suicide hotline at the end of the episode is both insane and heartbreaking. Despite this being the darkest episode we've had so far, I'm glad we got an episode about Akane very soon after she was introduced. I honestly thought it would take a few episodes to really get there. And I'm not gonna lie, I was cringing a little bit with the beginning of this episode being so over dramatic with Yuki with her whole act of wanting to quit the show but using that as a means to gain even more traction. I wasn't a huge fan of that scene, but it's whatever. What was interesting though was that quote unquote love triangle kind of formed with that white haired guy and the black haired dancer guy with Yuki, even though the white haired guy didn't really do anything and there wasn't really any tension stirring within that situation. Meanwhile, Ruby out here ego surfing and trying to save people on Twitter thought she was cute was hysterical as well as kind of spitting some facts with the company of products looking at your tweets and seeing you talking shit about them. Sometimes it do be like that, but it's crazy how you'd also be ruining sponsorship opportunities with some companies if you start spreading the bad word about them. Once again, I commend the author for doing his extensive research on how media works and the trends modern day society is into, especially after Ai's era, which even then was still pretty close to what it's like IRL nowadays. It was great to see them integrating more character interactions aside from the main characters, Akane and Yuki establishing their friendship and getting to know more about each other, especially with Akane trying to stand out and leave a mark on her presence in the show. She's desperate to get both her managers and the internet's approval. But this desperateness leads to rash actions and big mistakes that could have potentially been avoided. What appeared to be a minor mistake on set and not a huge deal for Yuki on the opposite side became a major scandal for the internet, especially since a good majority of the audience of the dating show has been sucking off on Yuki. Social media is ruthless, relentless, and unforgiving, especially with cancel culture being on a high spike nowadays. Some know that Akane may have just made a mistake, but they refuse to put that into consideration to light their pitchforks and crucify her. And Akane trying to say something in response or trying to verbally repent for her mistake will just piss even more people off. When I watched that scene, I thought to myself that she should just stay quiet because apologizing means nothing in cancel culture. Especially for some celebrities nowadays, sometimes I've seen cases where their agency has to apologize on their behalf for their actions. And sometimes they might even cut off the person from their rosters to try and avoid backlash coming to them. Regardless, it was pretty tough to watch. Second closest to Ai is that in episode 1. I don't blame Akane for her desperateness or rashness. It's normal for people to be pressured into feeling like they need to do something when you got an agency and friends putting bets on you to leave an impression to boost your reputation, but after this episode, I don't know how it's gonna go for Akane. I don't think she'll be able to step foot into the industry again, but it would be very interesting to see how she would overcome a huge scandal like that and take another shot in TV shows and the acting industry. It also really hit when she remembered what Mem-cho said about online criticism. Mem-cho knows the ins and outs of the cancel culture. As I said earlier, you can't take on the storm by apologizing. You're basically admitting you did something wrong and are giving the internet even more reason to crucify you. Mem-cho's also right about not looking at criticism a lot. The more you look at it, the more it eats away at you, just like it did for Akane. She kept constantly checking the comments and it just kept getting worse by the hour. Eventually leading up to Akane trying to off herself at the end, which bro, thank fuck, Aqua pulled up at the spot to stop her from completely falling. Overall, despite probably having reiterated the majority of what this episode was, it was pretty rough to watch, but I understood where Akane was coming from. And you're really able to empathize with these characters thanks to the amazing direction, voice acting, and animation portraying how cruel society can be. I'm really looking forward to seeing how the next episode will continue these events as well as where Akane and Aqua's relationship goes from here.